Hi, Andres. I'm Sarah from The Upcoming. Such a pleasure to be able to speak to you today. I guess just to kick off, what can people expect going into this movie? For people who don't know anything about it, what can they expect?
Yes, they're going to go into a journey of a very specific universe that happens in the border between Colombia and Venezuela in a beautiful geographic location. And they're going to expect a lot of action and adrenaline and a love story. It's about gasoline smugglers. So it's kind of like a real Mad Max that really happens in the border, but it's a very emotional story about a search for truth. It's the journey of Diana, who is our main protagonist in search for a truth in this very specific universe.
And of course, you've obviously made movies in the past, but you've more been focused on television in more recent years, Narcos and The Sandman, and of course, Griselda more recently. So what made you want to, go back into making a feature film, and why this particular world? Because I know you also co-wrote it, directing, also producing. So it must have been a story and a project you were really passionate about.
I love making shows and series, but ultimately for a director, making a film it's the ultimate goal. It's the ultimate dream. And I've been thinking about this film, about Pimpinero, since 2014. I actually was shooting Narcos in Colombia when I first saw these smugglers, this caravan of death, what they say, which, young drivers speeding in the road full of gas. So I started thinking about, this is a perfect idea for a movie. There's action, there's movement, but I need to find the human element, the story that will connect us to the characters. And it was until much later when I co-wrote the script with Maria Camila Arias that we could finally add that humanity to the characters and I did a lot of other things as I was working in Pimpinero, and finally we were able to make it a reality with Amazon Prime.
Obviously, the production values are through the roof. We really feel like we're right there in the dust, in the sort of oil-soaked, race of these cars of this world. How did you create that authenticity, and how much were you drawing from research from real life, and then, of course, bringing in fictionalized elements to bring us into the narrative, and the romantic elements, which of course is also a key part of the storytelling.
Yes, thank you for saying that. Yes, it's a very specific universe in very remote locations in a very specific area of the world. To do that, I had to do a lot of research in the area, interviewing people, knowing about the world of smuggling, knowing the community that lives there, which is the YU community, which is a very specific Colombian people that have their own values and traditions, and they opened their territory for us to film there. But of course, the people that worked in the film, for example, Angelica Perea, who was the production designer, she had to build all these enormous sets in the middle of the desert. It was extraneous. It was very, very hard. Through research, through working with the community, and through working with very talented individuals, we're able to give authenticity to that story, which is very unique and specific.
Were there any sort of nightmares? Did anything go wrong along the production? I mean, I know there was sort of a lot of tales after the making of all the Mad Max films. I mean, did anything ever get that extreme?
Every day that I woke up to go to set, I was like, this is gonna be the end. This is like, something's gonna happen, because everything was so fragile, because it was a big production, but in a part of Colombia where there's not really enough infrastructure to hold a film of this magnitude. And we had picture vehicles, and we had to of course feed and hydrate through the 300 people that worked in the film, and the sun, of course. So it was, but it was so professionally done, and with such ethical values that we just did it. And at the end, we didn't have any major problems. It was just getting day by day, being in the moment, and trying to resolve the problems that would arise on a daily basis.
And how did you end on this amazing cast, particularly of your central protagonist, Diana? And then also introducing people like Juanes, which is, of course, background in music, but this first time in front of the camera, I believe. So perhaps that was also a bit of a risk, but one that really paid off.
Yes, it was a bit of a risk. That's right. But I wanted to have an authentic, this very distinct cast. I found Laura through an audition process. I saw hundreds of actors, and I finally chose Laura, and she did a phenomenal job. I love her. She's, you know, she's the star in the heart of the film. And then I had to cast the three brothers, the Estrada brothers. The younger I had, the middle brother I had worked in Griselda, so I told him, come work with me because I love your work and we get along very well together. Our creative journey is great. So Ulises Alberto Guerra was cast, and I needed the younger brother and the older brother. I then met Alejandro Spacer through Alberto Guerra, and I brought him into the project. And then I needed the third brother, and I was like, which Colombian actor? And I was scrolling in the internet, and then Juanes, the singer, he's not an actor, just appeared in front of me. And I said, I loved his presence. Why not? Let's call him. Let's take this risk. And he said, yes, I want to. And he even auditioned for the film. And it was a pleasure working with him. Absolute pleasure.
What do you hope people take away from watching the film? Because I guess it is that sort of high octane roller coaster ride of a film, but there are these, you know, there is this romantic thread. It does expose people to a world they probably don't know anything about. And even the fact that, you know, it is a Spanish language film reaching audiences all over the world, that must feel really special.
You just said it all. That's exactly it. It's you know, it's shedding a light on a situation that happens in this border, but it's a film that is very emotional, and at the center of it is a love story and a journey, you know, of someone that needs to find the truth. That emotional journey and that love story is for me what's most important, but also inviting the audiences to witness a world that they've never seen before and that exists and that it's truthful.
Thank you so much for sharing all that with me, and can't
Thank
wait
you.
for everyone else to.
Thank you, Sarah. That was amazing. That was great. Thank you so much.
Nice to chat to you. Thank you.